Hello friends, welcome or welcome back to 8 Moon Phases. My name is Chivis and today we're going to do two important things. One of them is we are going to get our quilt started, or at least cut. I'll show you guys the pattern that I picked out. I'll show you guys the fabrics and then the two other fabrics that I bought to add on to what I already had, as well as we're going to start the cleaning of our sewing room, which is going to be another room in the house. So let me send you over to that Chivis. But before I do that, please make sure that you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Enable the notification bell. That way you guys will be notified every time that I upload a video. If at any point throughout this video you like what you see, make sure that you hit that like button. It is free and it helps a lot. Let's go. We have now unlocked another room. And this is a room that's going to become the sewing room. I wanted to show you guys a little bit of how it looks. No judging. Keep in mind, this used to be a storage room. It has been a storage room for a long while now, at least 2 or 3 years. So I am going to start today. I know that I'm not going to finish, but I am going to start today and trying to clean it up a little bit. I know there's a lot of dust. There's a lot of old papers, a lot of different things that I need to make sure that I start to throw out. It is raining outside. It is very dreary. It is very cold. But it's just like, I love it. I love this kind of weather. So it's perfect. It's perfect to get ready and start cleaning up. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a little bit of how it looks. Again, no judging. Have a little bit of a view of what we are working with, right? These are all just papers. A lot of them are papers, old papers. This is like wrapping stuff. This is a basket of old supplies that goes with that, which I'm probably not going to be using as a set. I may, however, take that vanity over to the other room to use as a table, and then bring the other table over here to be able to set up the sewing area. There is a closet over there that is also full of stuff. My board games are up top. This blue locker type looking thing, actually it goes in the kitchen. It has a lot of my baking stuff that I need to make sure that I put back in there that I haven't taken out. We have an empty bins. We have the shelf here that is going to be removed. I don't think I'm going to keep it. And then we have another place for storage over there. So this is what we're working with. It's not a huge room, but I think it'll be perfect as a sewing room. I have a lot of my photography stuff there. I have just old books there and stuff. Oh, look, that's the lid to the sewing machine that I continue to make sure that I find the little screw that belongs there. So for part of today's video, this is what we're going to be doing. We are going to jump into cutting the parts of the quilt that I told you guys that I finally have a design for. So I'm also going to jump on that later on in this video. If that's what you're interested in, then once I edit it, I'll let you know what minute you can jump to. Alrighty. So first of all, I think what I'm going to start by doing is taking out as much trash as possible. I am going to bring in the vacuum and start vacuuming up. Again, there is a lot of dust accumulated. I live in a very dusty part of Texas. So I'm going to go ahead and start dusting everything off. Again, I know that I'm not going to be finished today, not even close to finishing today. But I do want to get as much trash out, and then possibly just the bigger furniture that I want to be moving around. The brown table that you guys saw is technically the center table for my living room, which I haven't put back out. Backstory, I did move out a few years ago for about a year, and I rented my house out. So everything that I wasn't using, I had in this room as a storage. Luckily, I knew the people that I rented them to, so that is why I was able to leave one room occupied, and then they had the rest of the house to be able to use. So that is why this room is in this state. I moved back about 2 years ago, I believe. And ever since then, I've just kind of been coming to pick at stuff here and there to take out and then bring back and then take out. So I know there's a lot of things that we need to fix. There's a lot of empty boxes that I'm not using anymore. Papers from past school years that I know that I need to throw out, especially because I've changed roles now since then. So it's going to be a lot of movement. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started with bringing over the vacuum first. Try to dust off as much as I can from what is available, and then we'll start picking trash out. Let's go. I don't want to, but let's go. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, here's where we currently are. We did clean up most of the room. Let me come over here to the door. So I do have this pegboard that I want to hang up over on this wall right there in the back. Everything on this end of the room up until this cart here has been dusted. I do have a trash bag that I'm saving there to just continue putting everything stuff in there. All that is clean. All that is clean. We just have to rearrange it and find a room place for it. I have not touched the closet at all, and this shelf either. If you notice, I have a lot of crafting stuff that I need to just kind of organize, and obviously this is going to go over to the kitchen once we organize everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause right here. I do want to start the quilt today, so yeah, let's go ahead and get going to the other room so we can start cutting it up. I do want to buy a foam board, or what is it called? A felt wall that I want to put up on this side. The table's going to go in the center with the sewing machine. And once we have all that organized, then yeah, little by little we'll be building on this room, and hopefully it'll be ready soon. Obviously, once it's ready, I'll give you guys a complete look around of everything that we have. But I think we did good today. We didn't do much, like a whole bunch of movement, but we got a lot of things clean, specifically this side where the window is. It likes to accumulate a lot of dust. I need to see about sealing these windows a little bit better, just so it doesn't, the dirt and all the sun doesn't continue to come into the room. So this is going to go to the other room. This cart here is going to go to the other room, and then we're going to bring the table over once we are ready and organized. But yeah, here's where we are so far. Let's go ahead into the other room so we can start cutting up our fabric, and I'll explain everything about the quilt we're going to start. Alrighty, now that we are back, I'm feeling good. Feeling good about what we did to the room. It's not, again, completely done, but obviously a little bit helps a lot. So let's go ahead and start talking about what we're going to be doing for our quilt. I was very excited when I found this pattern. It is a pattern that is in a book, I believe. Let me find the name of the book real quick. Give me one quick second and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I do believe this is the book where the pattern could be found. And this is a pattern we're going to see. I'll put up a better picture in the usual spot so you guys can see a little bit better. Now, if your next question is, you bought the book? The answer is no. I tend to be very resourceful and find a way around different things. I like to do things myself, in other words. So I took the task on to create a pattern for myself. I did find a page where I saw a little bit more information of somebody making a similar pattern. So I kind of just took inspiration to that. I took the actual pattern, I drew it out, I divided it into little squares, and then I created a pattern of my own, which is that bottom right here. From there, I went through and counted each and every square to make sure that I was going to have enough of everything that I needed. And here on this side, you guys see here all the pretty numbers, was able to figure out how many squares I was going to need. Combination of squares, which is like the print with a light, or the white in this case, the print with the dark, or the whatever color dark that is it, and then any lights with darks, because there's a combination there. So I went through all that, and then I divided it up, and I added or calculated how many squares as a whole I was going to need. So I would love to share the pattern. I would love to, but it is not my pattern to share. I just, again, recreated it for my personal use. So definitely look for the book. Purchase it if you're interested. However, I will continue to show you how I created this quilt. Now, the charm packs that I'm going to use, I have had showed them to you before, and I had mentioned, I believe, during Vlogmas, something like that, the name of this pattern, which is Cat's Eye, if I remember correctly. Let's see. So yes, it is called Cat's Eye. Again, I showed you what the book is called. However, because of that book, I did go into searching for charm pack patterns or charm pack quilt. And then that particular book seems very useful because it's literally called just one charm pack quilts. And then I also started just, I don't know, it's a rabbit hole. You start looking for one pattern, end up looking for everything else. But anyways, this is the charm pack I have. I wish I could give you guys the name. I wish I remembered. I remember that I got it at Walmart, but that's it. I can't remember anything else. And it's been a long time since then. So let me show you guys the prints of what we're going to be working with. So I'm going to go ahead and start with cutting the fabric that I have, and which I'll show you guys in a bit. These are the pre-cut squares that I will be using, and I think all of them are very cohesive. The colors combine very well together. There's, I believe, like one or two that I could take out, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to use them all. That's what they're there for. That's why they came together in a pack. So we're just going to put them all together. We're going to use them as they were intended to. So this is the fabric that I have that came in the pack. Now, I've kind of wanted to see what else I could do or add to it. And I was just kind of debating on what other combinations I could make. Again, there are going to be some pieces that are print with the light color, print with the dark, and then the white with the actual dark. So I had found these three that I kind of thought could be combined with it. They are also from Walmart. This one I'm not so sure. It might be, but these are from Walmart. And I just kind of went along with like this color a little bit, and also the gray that we have. So I'm still debating if I'm going to add these or not. I'm not entirely sure. However, what I am going to be using, because that's what I intend as my light and dark colors, is I do have this fabric that I got at Walmart. I only bought two because I know that this is what I'm going to be using the most of. It is the most amount of squares that I need. which is 74 total squares from this. And then this is going to be my dark fabric. It is just a navy solid because we have all the other patterns going on. I just thought this was just a solid color would be good with it. So what we need to do to start preparing, I don't have, as of right now, a back fabric that I want to use. I've been looking at different fabrics either online. I was at Walmart the other day. I could go to Hobby Lobby. The Michaels that I went to didn't have any fabric, which made me very sad. I know there is two other Michaels that I may be able to go visit, but honestly, throughout the week, it's very hard because of work. But again, there's no rush to finish this quilt, so I may get a chance to go before I actually need that fabric. Now, the first thing we need to do is obviously cut this fabric to be the size of these squares. If you saw the pattern, if you remember the pattern right here, it is all half triangle squares, all of it. And then there's 4 solid white, 4 solid light squares. In this case, it's like the whitish with the gray flowers. So that's it. That's all we're doing. I know that there is a way to get the 2 triangles out of each square combination or square sandwich, which is by drawing a line in the middle and then sewing a line to the right and then a line to the left. And cut straight through the middle, and that gives you your square. That is the method I'm going to be using. So there's going to be a lot of chain sewing, and then cutting and then pressing. I hope that it's going to go fairly quick. The thing that might take a little bit more time is knowing how to rearrange the squares. The example that I saw has a bunch of different combinations, and also I've seen a few different styles that are similar to this that all have like a different arrangement. They're very randomized. They're not like following a specific pattern. So that's what I intend to do. Just trying to look for something that looks good, a combination that will not clash, 2 colors that are not the same next to each other. And yeah, I think it'll be good. I think we'll be able to get through it pretty fast. Now I just need to make sure that I do have that back fabric once I am done. The size of the quilt is going to be not that big or big. I think it's 40 or 42. I can't remember exactly. Plus, if I want to add a border to the outside, which this one doesn't have, and then the binding. I may add a border. It all depends on possibly with the background fabric or with a solid dark around it. Those would be the 2 options if I want to do a border with this quilt. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fairly simple project. I say that now. There's going to be a lot of cutting, a lot of squaring, a lot of pressing, but I'm excited. I'm excited to get it started. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 squares across, 12 squares down, obviously, because it is a squared quilt. This may possibly be a 2, 3, maybe 4 video series, just so I'm able to cut all the fabric, start sewing all the fabric together, piecing it together, and then from there, the final parts, which would be the quilting, the and the binding. But I hope that you will stick around. I hope that you are interested. I hope that you enjoy the process of making this quilt. This would be my, if I don't count the mug block, this would be my 3rd full quilt, which I'm very excited about. So let's get going with cutting our fabric. All right, friends, we have now ironed all of our fabric. I have it right here. And now I have to cut it. I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my other blocks just to double check, make sure that I have the correct measurements. And then from there, we'll go ahead and start cutting. Alrighty, so now that we have ironed our fabric, because remember, ironing is one of the most important steps, I'm going to go ahead and measure the total to see more or less how many blocks I'm going to be getting out of each. So it is, I did iron it on a fold. I have the fold on this side, and then I have the selvage ends over on this side right here. So I just left it like that. I think it's just gonna make it easier trying to cut the blocks instead of having to go one by one by one by one by one. I have my tablet here sitting next to me just to make sure I know how many squares I'm going to need of the white and then how many of the navy. Other than that, I think we're ready to go. Let's get to cutting. Alrighty, so we have this all set up. I've lined it up over here on this end with this bottom line on the fold. And then I'm going to go ahead and square this top part first. I had you guys at a different angle with the camera, but it didn't work out. So I decided to switch it here. However, I did mention that it's gonna, hopefully everything recording wise is going to be a lot easier once we have that other room set up, because that way I won't be having to move things on and off for sewing or for other things that I'm doing. You know, this table will be designated specifically for the sewing room, and that way it'll just make it a lot easier. So I'm just going to go ahead and square this edge up first. This is gone. Now I might switch the fabric over because this is the size that I need. Well, technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how much I need, but yes. Let me go ahead and switch this fabric over. I'm just gonna flip it. Let's flip it over to this side. And that way it'll be easier. It doesn't need to be lined up. Again, I already squared this or made this other side straight, but we'll do the best we can. Now, I do want to add a disclaimer. I am not by any means a perfect sewist, sewing person, because again, this is my third quilt that I'm starting barely. I have made one piece of clothing, actual clothing, for when my sister was younger. However, she never got to wear it because I was supposed to fix some things on it and I never did. So I never gave that to her. And I did, however, make 2 or 3 maybe costumes, like last minute costumes that I had to get done, possibly on the same day or after. I can't remember. I mean, or a day or 2 after. So yeah, you know, I do like to research. I do like to watch a lot of videos. I like to read a lot about a certain subject. And that's what I've done with sewing, essentially. However, it's funny because the sewing machine that I've had, I believe I was maybe 12 or 13 when I got it. That was over 20 years ago. Just FYI. I'm probably going to disclose my age. If you are able to do calculations, you'll see it, but you'll try to figure it out. But yeah, that was over 20 years ago. And it's surprising, you know, to know that it still works the way that it does. I obviously did not take care of it how I should have, especially not knowing what went into taking care of a sewing machine. My brother had it for a long time, and he had it without knowing how to use a sewing machine either. He just had it. However, he did take good care of it. For a second there, I thought he had lost my pedal because he wouldn't give it back to me, but that is all resolved. I forgave him. Everything's fine. And because of that, once he gave it back, I was able to get back into sewing, obviously. So I have made a few projects, small projects here and there, just for myself mainly. But recently, I don't know if I showed you. I will. I'll go grab them in a bit and I'll show them to you. I made some wristlets, like keychain wristlets. I made a lanyard. I've made the triangle bag that you guys saw. I did make another little bag. Let me step over here and grab it. Originally, this was the first one that was supposed to be for my sister. However, I made a mistake while lining the bag. I mean, it looks great. I like it. I like how it looks. But the inside doesn't look as pretty because I made a mistake while lining it. So it has raw edges everywhere. That's why I just decided to keep it. Currently, it's holding my threads while I either assemble or 3D print a spool holder, or I don't know, figure something out. I don't know how to store those, but they've been there for now and they're doing well. They're fine. They don't get in the way. I also printed this 3D, no, not 3D. I also printed this bobbin holder. Let me reach over here. This is a middle piece to it. So it's here, it holds here. But it gets better. It gets better because it has two additional pieces to it, which are these two. And it holds a lot of bobbins. However, after I had printed it, I wasn't sure if it was the most effective way of storing this stuff. So I decided to just leave it there for now. But I may find another way. I don't know. I really like there was one that I could also 3D print for clipping the bobbin to the top of the spool. But again, I don't have anywhere to store the spools yet, so we're making do with what we have. Anyway, after a little bit of show and tell, let's go ahead and keep cutting. I'm going to go ahead and keep cutting all of the white strips, and then once I have these done, I'll go ahead and start cutting the squares. I will bring you guys back once we get to the squares. Alrighty, we are back. I don't know if you guys are able to hear the sound of the rain hitting on the vent, but here we are. Yes, it is raining. It has been raining on and off, all day. And I love it. I love the rain. Alrighty, so the first thing I want to do is, again, I'm going to, if you guys caught the other clip, I cut one of the squares a little bit because this is a 6-inch ruler. I forgot that I only needed a smaller one. So I'm going to go ahead and line up now with this one just to cut off the selvage end. That should take up all of it. And then we're going to do a quick slice. I love rotary cutters. I know that scissors are all right. Alrighty, so again, once I've done that, I am going to flip my fabric over. This really isn't much for, like, I'm not using the ruler as much here. That's just for that selvage cut. But I do want to make sure that I have everything lined up. Remove these fabrics, these strips that we have there. It probably would have been easier to cut the selvage off first, but I didn't do that. We will be squaring off as we go for each of the blocks once we start sewing them together. So that's 2. I really like this fabric. What do y'all think? What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Did we get a good design, good choice? I think we did. I think it's gonna go well with everything else that we have. It is very floral, so it's 4. We need 74. We have 4 so far, 70 more to go. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and keep cutting these, and then so that's only one fabric. I have the other one here and the blue one here. I know I could possibly put them all like layer them, but you know, sometimes I just second what is it? Guess myself. And I just want to make sure that everything is how it should be. And I have this left over, which will possibly, I don't know, help us for something later. It's about 3.5 inches. It's a good size block. Oh, maybe for that the what's it called? The other mug blocks that I want to make. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and keep cutting these then, and then we'll check in once we're done with this set. Might do the blue one, and then I might just do the other white one off camera. So let's go. Alrighty, back to our designated area. So let me show you guys what we have. We have the ones that were already pre-cut, which are these. These have been ready since the beginning of time. Excuse me. And now we have our lights and our darks. So in the next video, the next quilt video, I'm not saying it's going to be the immediate video after this one, but in the next quilt video, I am going to start sewing them. I do need to go through and draw a line through all of the, I think I'm going to do the whites simply because it's going to be the easiest, and I think mostly all of these are connected to a light square or a white in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing the diagonal line, because remember, we're going to be drawing a diagonal line down across this way. And then we're going to be sewing a 1/4 of an inch to the right and then a 1/4 of an inch to the left. We cut through the drawn line, and that'll give us our 2 squares, our 2 half triangle squares. So that is what we're going to be doing in the next video. And then from there, we're going to start looking to see how we're going to assemble this quilt. And then the final step will be sewing or piecing the top all together. Well, the final step for the top of the quilt. So we're going to go ahead and do that in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We'd love to have you with us. And let me know down below. What are your thoughts so far? How fast do you think we'll be able to get this quilt completed? Alrighty. So yes, for the next video, I will be starting on the sloth that I have to do. So we're gonna go back to crochet. You know what? I know that I was about to say goodbye, but I think that December crocheted me out. I was crocheting for days in a row because of the market, because of the sunflower blanket that I needed to complete. So I'm so glad I took this almost whole month to kind of just chill with crochet And now that I'm going to get back into it, I think it's going to be a little bit more enjoyable. But alrighty, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.